everybody, this is Brian.
Jason.
And this is the Perfectly Screwed Podcast. Hey, how's it going? You got drunk last night and you're all hungover. That's funny.
Man, I'm just a little sore. I did. I DJ'd a wedding reception for one of my good buddies and had a little too much to drink, and I'm not happy with my decision to do so.
But you were friends with the guy who was getting married?
Yeah, that was the only good. Well, is the good thing and bad thing. So usually I'm out of town and like into your.
Yeah, and usually you don't know the people, so you're not sticking around afterwards to drink with them.
I don't drink, and you know what I mean, and everything's good. But last night the reception was literally a block away from my house.
Oh well, shit! You had to drink.
Yeah,
right.
I know. I mean, it wasn't my fault.
Did you wake up with the bridemaid? At least.
No, I didn't.
Motherfucker.
But it wasn't. Yeah, there wasn't really bridesmaids. Like they got married in Hawaii a few weeks ago.
Oh, this is just a reception.
This was just.
So there wasn't any bridesmaids? There was no like single women there?
Oh, there were single women there. Yeah, but they weren't bridesmaids.
Oh, I see.
But it was funny, man, because later on in the evening when everybody's a little sauced.
Yeah.
Of course, then all of a sudden, keg stands started happening.
That's a fun time, yeah.
I didn't do the keg stand. What I was doing was talking to the children that were there witnessing the keg stands, and how ironic it was that, these adults are being hoisted up in the air, guzzling alcohol down their fucking throat, and yet when they wake up tomorrow, they'll be the ones telling the children how to live their lives.
Well, yeah.
Like, very, very ironic, I think.
One of the worst hangovers I think I ever had in my life was the night I came back here to Indiana from Mississippi. It was about 12 years ago now or so, 11, something like that. I decided it would be a good idea to do a keg stand with tequila. Yes. They had a funnel.
That is a good idea.
Yeah, they had a funnel. And we had no beer. But he had a bottle of Jose.
Oh, God.
So they held me upside down, and I drank about a half a fifth of Jose all to the head. About 5 minutes later, I went to sleep. About 2 hours later, I woke up to vomit, and that continued on for the rest of the evening until in the morning when I wish I had died. Yeah.
Well, you're lucky. Probably lucky you didn't.
Nah, I didn't drink that much Jose. It was only half a bottle. It probably wouldn't have killed me. But
no, probably not. Yeah, but man, all at once while upside down.
Yeah, that's why it fucked me up so bad. Yeah, that's why I went to sleep. I mean,
I don't know how to burn your throat and everything else inside of it.
No, it was fine. It didn't burn at all. Because after the initial chugging, right? It's just like a beer. You don't even taste it. It's just chug. Right? You're just swallowing.
Yeah, I got you.
No, it wasn't until they turned me over when I realized it was a bad idea because the room went sideways and I hit the floor. They stood me up. They said, "You all right?" I said, "Yeah." They let go of me. I said, "Boom." I wasn't all right.
Well, you have a lot of interesting drunk stories. I mean, I can understand why you don't drink anymore.
Oh, dude, I have to. You've only heard the tip of them. I mean, seriously. You haven't even heard. Oh my God, you haven't even heard half of them that I've literally done. My wife's told you a couple, like almost pissed on my kids.
Yeah.
I was so drunk off of Southern Comfort one time that I literally almost pissed on my newborn son, who is now 5.
She said you were about to piss in the bed.
Yeah, I was right next to the bed.
Told you not to do that.
Yeah, well, I was next to the bed.
Idea to go over and try to piss on the bed.
Well, I walked about 3 feet, and he was in a crib at the time, and I didn't realize it was a crib. I guess I thought it was a toilet. She goes, "That's a crib." I ended up making it to the corner before. Still in the same room. That's the funny part.
Right.
I never left the room, and somehow I thought I had left the room, walked downstairs, and went to my bathroom.
Because it's not a short walk.
No.
It's not a short walk.
No, I have a very large house, and my bathroom is on the other side of it.
It's like a quarter mile. It's seriously
and I walked
the longest walk is from your room to the bathroom in the whole house.
And I literally walked in about a 2-foot circle.
Hey, nobody got pissed on him. That's always good.
No, she was mad because the next day I remember I woke up and I was hungover. And she goes, you pissed in the corner. You're going to clean that up. And I was like, of course I will. Just let me, not be hungover anymore, right? Oh, no, I never cleaned it up. She ended up cleaning it up. I was too hungover.
I'm not going to make it over there today.
No, I tried, actually, and I ended up throwing up in the corner on top of the piss.
Oh, my
And that's when she said, no, just go lay down.
Never mind.
The fuck out of my face. Yeah, go away.
Go to bed, you piece of shit.
Yeah, pretty much. It's amazing my wife stayed with me this long.
Oh,
really.
I don't understand it. She's a tremendous woman.
No, I'll tell you a story that happened in this same building, but it was when I used to live in the back apartment when the other guy used to own it, the guy who originally bought it. This was, again, when I first got back from Mississippi. I was so fucking drunk one night that I climbed onto the roof of, there used to be a porch. I used to live in the upstairs apartment, and there's a porch with a balcony. Well, if you walk over the edge of the balcony, you can get on the roof of the apartment next to you, basically.
Yeah, I got you.
So I'm on this roof. So I'm about probably a good 10 feet in the air. Dude, I was so drunk I rolled off the fucking roof and right into the fucking yard. I woke up the next morning, it was splayed out in the middle of my fucking yard,
Oh
dude.
my god.
Soaking wet from the dew and shit. Drunk as shit. Didn't even remember. I was like, what the fuck? I somehow had rolled right off the roof.
Was you hurt?
No, it's perfectly
crazy.
fine.
That's a fall.
I was perfectly fine. Yeah, I fell 10 feet at least. Yeah, rolled right off the roof onto the...
Probably because you were so drunk, probably real relaxed when you hit. So
well, I'm surprised because right under that roof is actually a concrete sidewalk. So what I should have done is broke every bone in my leg, but I ended up somehow bouncing off the edge of the roof right into the yard. Yeah, I ended up in the yard about 1.5 feet away from the edge of the roof.
It's crazy. It is unbelievably dangerous. I mean, people die if it's too cold outside. Mm-hmm. They get so drunk that they end up passing out outside. If it's really cold out, you're fucking.
Yeah, this was like August. So
Thank God.
Yeah, and it makes me wonder. See, because of where I ended up, if I actually fell off the roof, or if in my drunken state I just don't remember jumping.
Yeah.
Because I think what I did is jumped off the roof.
You may have.
And if I jumped off the roof, that makes more sense. I wouldn't have got hurt. I would have it might have stung a little bit, but you can jump 10 feet to the ground and not hurt yourself, especially drunk off your ass.
Right.
I've jumped off a 10-foot roof many times and not hurt myself.
You probably were at least coherent enough to be like, I better try to jump over the.
Well, I had to do something. If I just rolled, I would have ran right into a concrete. I would have fell right on concrete. So I had to have jumped. I mean,
oh my God.
I had to have jumped.
You jumped.
That's a big jump.
Shit.
Yeah, that's a leapfrog jump. It's at least. It's at least 1.5 feet from the roof.
You're like,
and 10 foot down.
Survive it? Yeah, I'm gonna go to bed now.
Yeah, I probably jumped and then sat down in the grass and just was like, you know what, I'm kind of tired. I'm just gonna lay down here. It's warm.
I survived that. It's not worth pushing it any further.
Yeah, I'm not gonna climb the stairs. That'd be stupid.
So, are we just gonna talk about drunk stories? What are we even doing here?
I guess so. Well, again, see, drunk stories lead me right into the game, so I might as well explain the rules of the game. If nobody is ever listened to the podcast before, and this is the first episode you're listening to, I want you to know there's a little game we like to play here on the Perfectly Screwed podcast. And that game is called Will Brian Fuck Up the Words, which means anytime I stumble over a word or say a word wrong, I recommend you take a shot of alcohol. And then you will feel like Jason does.
I'll be taking a shot of Gatorade.
Yeah. You'll feel like Jason does tomorrow.
Yeah.
It's
a good time for the college kids, you know?
Right. Well, if any college kids are out there listening, please take a shot and finger your best girlfriend while you're doing it. Mm-hmm. Or any girl that happens to be around. Or if you're gay, jerk off a dude. I don't care what you do.
Yeah, hey.
As long as you're having sex, getting drunk, and having fun, that's what college is all about. Fucking education. That's what I say.
Absolutely.
You have your whole life to
it's
work
your parents'
hard.
Money.
You're damn right. You have your whole life to work hard. Might as well take the next 12 years
Yes.
and fuck as much pussy and drink as much alcohol as you can, because after this, it's all
You're
downhill. Yeah. Welcome to reality. Wish somebody had that conversation with me 20 years ago. Wait, I did do that in college. That's where I am now. All right, well. Okay, no, what we...
Well, no, that's an interesting thing. It's an interesting point. I think about this. Because so many times parents tell their children not to grow up and be like them.
Mm-hmm.
But they're your parents. Like, they're the ones you look up to and that are your role models. You're supposed to be like them. Like, you know what I'm saying? Don't be like you. What are you talking about? That doesn't make sense. I get it. It makes sense. But it's not the right message.
I don't know. Jeff Bezos' kid or parent or good God.
Hey, shot time! Everybody, bottoms up. Gatorade.
I don't know if I fucked up the word, but I fucked up the thought.
It's good enough.
It's good enough. Good enough. Shit.
Jeff Bezos' children. No, I mean, yeah, it's obviously not going to be in every.
Yeah, I'm
every
sure he would love them to grow up to be like him.
Sure. It's going there's going to be.
But no, if your dad
most
is,
of the time, you know
if your dad's an alcoholic piece of shit that went to prison, no, I'm sure he doesn't want you to grow up to be like.
Right.
Basically, you don't want your kids to make the mistakes you did.
Right.
Because you realize that those were mistakes. The problem is that they're young, stupid, and they're going to do exactly what you did.
Well, yeah.
And possibly worse, depending on who they are.
If you're not willing to open up about the mistakes, you know, why they were mistakes, and why you made the mistakes, then you're not teaching them anything.
Well, even if you do, I mean, a lot of kids, like, my parents were very clear about their mistakes and very open about why they made them and how I shouldn't do them. And I'm hard-headed, so I had to repeat them.
Yeah.
Because I got to learn for myself.
Very stubborn.
Right, I'm stubborn and stupid. But you wanted to talk about the Georgia Guidestone.
Oh, yeah, the Georgia Guidestone.
So, there's supposed to be the mysterious instructions for the post-apocalypse. If you guys don't know what these are, these big-ass stones with basically a...
Granite, right?
Yeah, they're
big
granite slabs. There's, what, 2 of them? 3 of them? 8 of them? 4 of them?
There's
4.
It's a big...
Wait, how many of these are there?
Good question.
3, I think, or 2.
No, there's 1, 2, 3...
4.
4 on the outside, but then there's the one middle post.
Well, yeah, but there's 4 on the outside, and on each side there's a different language written on them. They
Right.
all say the same thing,
Right.
but in a different language on each side of the stone. So
But there's
total
also
8 languages.
There's also a middle slab and then a giant slab above all of it.
Yes, and the
It's
interesting...
almost kind of like stone. It's like a miniature Stonehenge.
Well, no, it's interesting because it not only has words on it, but it's interesting because it's also a clock.
Mm-hmm.
It also points to certain astronomical events.
Yep.
It also is an equinox calendar.
Right. It's aligned with the solstices
Yeah.
and all that.
And it's an equinox calendar. So it
Yeah.
tells you each equinox, the line will show you the due north on an equinox.
Mm-hmm.
But let's see. But the crazy thing
It looks like kind of like an ancient ruin, but it's modern. It was because when did you say they were made?
1979.
Yeah, they were not made long ago. Like they're definitely not ancient. Yeah, 1979.
1979. And the weird thing is nobody knows who contracted them.
Right.
This guy came along.
I think it says his name's R.C. Christian.
Yeah, but he said that wasn't his real name.
Right.
And he contracted a construction company with specific instructions to make this exactly like he wanted it.
Mm-hmm.
And then he disappeared after paying all of this and was never seen again. No one's ever seen him again. Yeah, no one even knows who he is.
They're located in Elbert County, Georgia.
Yeah, in a big barren field.
Mm-hmm.
In an empty, completely barren field. Oh, it's 5 granite slabs, including the one on top.
Mm-hmm.
So 4 on the bottom, 1 on top, and a big granite pole right in the middle. Kind of like what's in my pants.
Hello.
The wife just got the big granite pole earlier. Okay, let's stop lying to ourselves. It's small and it's more like a pebble. Each of them weighs. How much do they weigh? 20 tons each. Each of them weighs. How much do they weigh? Well, I don't know, Brian. Why don't you look it up, you stupid son of a bitch, you? Well, now that I'm done
I don't know
talking
what
to
they weigh.
myself,
How much
they
is it?
20 tons.
Each of them?
Each of them weigh 20 tons, and on top of them there is a capstone. Nobody knows who built it or why they were placed there. But there is a popular opinion that the purpose is to guide humanity after a predicted post-apocalyptic event that will come in the not-too-distant future. The huge blocks send a message out to the world in 8 different languages, as well as 4 extinct ones, ancient Greek, Egyptian hieroglyphs, for example. See, that makes me think that these aren't necessarily for post-apocalyptic, like for some future event. Because why then would this guy carve ancient Greek and Egyptian hieroglyphs in them? There's no reason. Because if those are dead languages, even in a post-apocalyptic event, no one would ever speak those languages again. It's not like Greek and hieroglyphs are just going to be revitalized. The only reason you would put those 2 languages on there is if this thing is capable of interdimensional travel of some sort.
Yeah, I don't know. That's a good question.
Yeah, and is it possible that this thing can go back and forth through time and we don't even know it? Maybe that's why it's built the way it is. Or maybe this guy came through time. See, because he was a very, very mysterious fellow. Some people, now the guidelines, there's 10 of them that are set in these stones. And some people say they range from a perfect utopian idea. Some say they're satanic, and others just blow them off as stupid and quirky, like this guy was just trying to get a rise out of people. But it seems like, look, if you're just trying to get a rise out of somebody, if this was just because you're a nutbag or whatever, first of all, don't you think you would try to use your real name so you could take credit for your prank?
Yeah.
And then secondly, wouldn't somebody see you again? It's like after this dude commissioned this, paid for everything, got everything done, and they were built, no one ever saw this guy again. Like he just disappeared off the face of the earth.
That's weird. I don't know. Yeah. I've seen something too, like where they're located is near a like an actual granite. What do I want to say? Basically, I don't know if they manufacture it or quarry it, or it's next to a big granite company.
It might be.
And so
I didn't read that, so it might be.
It's kind of like a. But here, my thing is like, you're not. They don't seem like something that, or granite doesn't seem like something that you're trying to draw people in for business. You know what I'm saying? Like it's not a restaurant or something. Like we're not going to be like, hey, let's go check out all the granite. I mean, yeah. So I don't know. The whole thing is just weird. But it's the things they say that.
Here's the 10 that they said. Yeah. The first one is maintain humanity under 500 million in perpetual balance with nature.
I mean that's freaky to me because there are 8 billion of us right now.
Mm-hmm.
But if it's under 500 million is what maintains perpetual balance with nature, then that's 7.5 billion people.
Well, if you think about this, in general, I mean, okay, I understand people are people and people care about everybody that's in their family and this and that. I mean, I don't necessarily care about all of you because I don't know all of you. The ones I have spoke to and know, I like you people. But I'm not saying I care about everybody in the world.
Right.
But I do as a humane kind of thing, whereas I care about people, but I'm not saying, I have a personal interest in everybody. But if you think about this in that way, I mean, there's way too many people in the world. When there was less, back in the 1700s, 1800s, there was much more space. There was much more privacy. There was much less conflict. There was much less turmoil, much less, problems. And there was a better balance with nature. The less people you have,
But I don't know.
the less you got to produce.
Sure, I don't know that it's. I don't know. I have a hard time with their. I mean, I get that 8 billion is a lot, but there's a lot of surface area on the Earth too, and I don't know that it's that we don't have enough space. I think it's that people fucking jam themselves into spaces, and I just don't understand that. Back in November, I drove out to Arizona. This fascinated me, driving through Texas. Because it's just land, dude.
No, yeah, I know. I've been to
It's
Texas
just there's
many
nothing.
times, yeah.
There's absolutely, but there's all this open land.
Oh yeah.
And then all of a sudden, you're coming into I can't remember what's the big right before New Mexico. There's Amarillo.
Amarillo.
So like you're driving for miles and
Yeah,
miles.
because it's
and miles.
Amarillo, and then as you're going over, and that's the panhandle up that way.
And you see there's nothing.
Yeah.
There's nothing like even the.
Texarkana's up
the-
that way too. Texarkana, Amarillo, and then as you go towards Central, it's more Dallas.
Mm-hmm.
And then-
Even like the rest, like the pull off exits.
Yeah, there's nothing.
There's nothing.
No.
Like there's like gas stations that literally say gas.
Well-
like you know what I'm saying?
Well, that's what I told my wife. I said, if we ever go through Texas, there's billboards that literally say in Texas, last gas for so many miles.
Oh yeah.
You better believe that shit.
Oh,
and you better fill the
100%.
fuck up
Yep.
right then. I don't give a damn if you're at a quarter tank. Fill the fuck
No.
up. You know why?
Yep.
Because you're not going to see another living soul for the next 15 miles or
Dude.
so. Sometimes longer. Dude, I drove through
Sure.
Texas one time and it was 8 hours
Sure.
literally. I timed it. It was like 6-8 hours. I was dead almost on E. I was like, God damn it, if I don't find a gas station, dude, I'm
Right.
out of this fucking
It's-
life.
it's
It was like
absolutely
6
true.
hours of nothing.
Yes, it's
but
absolutely
desert.
true. So
Yeah.
so you're driving for miles and miles and miles, like I said, open land, not a goddamn soul in sight, and then all of a sudden you come into this humongous city that everybody's packed into, and then you get through it, and then there's nobody again. Except it's just like I don't know if there's too many of us. I just don't think we're spacing out right.
Well, see, first of all, humans are pack animals, community animals. We got to be around other humans. We go crazy on our own. Well, most of us do. I don't necessarily, but most people do. But you got to understand where you're talking about, too. When you talk about Texas, when you talk about Arizona, New Mexico, LA, lower parts of California, you're talking about the desert. So there's actually a good reason in those areas they jam into one big city. Because you got to go where the water is. That's why Texas has nothing for 10 miles. There's nothing there. I mean, no, you can't live there. You can't live out in the desert of Texas. There's no water for
Right.
100 miles.
Makes sense.
So,
But certainly we
And in LA, the
certainly-
same thing.
But certainly we could construct something to bring water.
oh, yeah. I mean, they
mean,
do
you
to
know,
LA. Yeah, they bring
yeah.
aqueducts and shit.
Sure.
But, you know...
But no, I see what you're saying.
But it's the same thing if you go through the Midwest. Like if you go through Nebraska,
No, it's everywhere.
you'll have fields.
Mhm.
You'll have miles and miles of nothing but fields, and then a big city full of people, and then miles and miles of nothing. And New York City's even worse because it's like what 3-4 million people now in a city that's like the size of basically the town we're now. I mean, it's like 5 islands, man. You know what I'm saying out there
Yeah.
in the harbor.
Oh yeah.
And New York City, if anyone has never been there, it's not really that big. There's a lot of people,
Right.
but it's not big. Like, it's not spread out. Like, LA is. LA's spread out. You know what I'm saying? Like,
in 2019 there was 8.4 million in New York.
Jesus Christ. Yeah. In a city that's really small, really.
Yeah, they're packed on top of each other.
Oh, yeah, that's why they do the high rise. Yeah.
And that's
You live on top of each other.
that's my thing. It's like I think before I would want to genocidally wipe out 7.5 billion people, can't we try spreading out first? I mean, can we give it a shot?
I don't
just
know.
think about like right around here. There's, and I get that most of the open field is for agriculture, but not all of it.
No.
You know, and yeah, of course people have to interact and be around other people, but when you go home, you know what I'm saying? You should be able to have some fucking space.
Well, some people do. I mean, look at my mother-in-law.
Yeah, they do.
My mother-in-law owns like 8 acres of land, and most of it's woods, and nobody lives on it.
Right.
But animals, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, that's the other problem. If we spread out too much, then you're killing all the animals because we're taking their habitats to live. Unless you want to be one with nature.
Right.
Like the Indians were.
Right.
But anyways, let's get back to Georgia because we're almost 30 minutes in already.
So that was the first rule, was maintain humanity under 500 million in perpetual balance with nature.
Correct.
What was 2?
2 is guide reproduction wisely, improving fitness and diversity.
Dude, that sounds like what fucking Hitler and the Nazis were trying to do.
I'm sorry, I believe in that. I think, look, I'm going to tell you right now, this is going to be, I'm going to get serious for a moment, guys, here on Perfectly Screwed. All jokes aside, if you're a moron, please, for the love of God, wear a condom. Or give me your address, send it to me. I'm not joking right now. Send me an email. I will come over with a Louisville Slugger bat and I will hit you in the nuts repeatedly so that you cannot produce any more moronic pieces of shit to populate this earth. If you are a worthless fuck, please stop having kids. That's all I'm asking. Okay?
But
if you are too stupid not to make crystal meth in your basement with your 2-year-old 3 feet away, please don't have children. Don't reproduce. Because that is what is happening, Jason. I'm sorry.
I don't
smart,
disagree, but who
intelligent people have fewer kids.
It's
just like the movie Idiocracy.
Right.
Eventually, that's what's going to happen.
Right. But your definition of somebody being a moron and my definition of somebody being a moron is going to be different. And there's going to be a lot of people who are morons that don't know. They don't think they are.
I'm not talking about stupid people. I'm not talking about people with lower intelligence necessarily. I'm talking about worthless pieces of shit morons.
Yeah.
Right. Now, I think there's a universal term that we can all agree on that I'm talking about. Meth addicts, people that have, I don't know, used heroin, been revived 3 or 4 times and are still ODing.
Mm-hmm.
That's a moron.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. You know, people who contribute nothing to society and whose kids have to either be taken care of by somebody else or go into the system, they shouldn't be allowed to have kids.
No,
you should have to have a license to have children.
Dude, I agree, and I believe you should have to undergo a certain process, and you should have to prove that you are ready and that you want children and that you can provide for those children before you go having children.
Yes.
But here's the thing. How do you police sex?
Oh, you don't have to police sex. All you have to do is make sure that every female
is on birth control.
I
agree.
Of age. Yeah, that's all you got to do.
I absolutely agree.
That's all you got to do. And any person that has a child that does not have a license to have one, Plan B works real well. Hey, you know, if you're against abortion, cool and all, but we've got to do something to stop people that shouldn't have kids from having kids. Because first of all, let's get past the fact. I'm not talking about people of lower intelligence. What I'm talking about is people that A, should never have kids, and B, cannot raise them properly.
Right.
You should not just have carte blanche to fuck up a child. You should have to go through. First of all, you should have to be financially stable.
Right.
They should have to be able to say, hey, you're financially stable, you can take care of this kid, you've got a job, you're mature enough to do it. Now then, we're going to put you through a quick psychological evaluation, make sure you're not going to fuck up the kid too bad. Now, okay, everything checks out, here you go. You can't just let anybody have kids. That's how you get people like John Wayne Gacy. That's how you get people like fucking Ted Bundy and Ed Kemper and them. Because their parents were not fit to have kids. Ed Kemper's mom was a crazy nut religious bag. If she had had to have a license and go to a psychologist before having a child, the psychologist would have realized that she was crazy, and that would have been the end of the conversation.
I mean, yeah. No, it's a crazy subject.
So I agree with that. I agree with that.
You're right.
Point.
There are a lot of kids running around that are
not taken care of properly.
No, dude, it destroys them, and it's becoming an epidemic, honestly.
Right, and the problem is they grow up to be human
Just
adults
exactly
that
like-
are just as bad as their parents, if not worse. And they perpetuate another generation of the same problem over and over and over.
And that's where we're at.
Yeah.
Number 3. What's number 3?
So number 3 on these stones. Unite humanity with a living new language. And that basically means one language, like a universal language.
Yeah. See, I knew one of the rules was that, which
And that makes sense.
but it goes back to what.
But that goes against the Bible.
It goes back to what you were saying earlier, though. Like, what sense does it make to put the ancient Greek or ancient Egyptian hieroglyphs on there?
Right.
And now it even makes less sense because this is talking about one language, just
Right.
having one language.
Right. Right. And why would you have ancient things on there when you're building this thing in 1979?
Right.
No one could read ancient Greek and hieroglyphs. Well, very few people could read hieroglyphs.
Yeah.
But almost nobody can read ancient Greek at this point.
No, it's. I never thought about the inventor of the stones being a time traveler, but I think that's interesting.
Yeah.
I really do.
And if you want to go even farther, it could be the same person who did the Emerald Tablets. It could be the same Atlantean
Yeah,
guy.
I know.
And he's
That's
an
what made me-
interdimensional being
Right.
that can go back and forth, and that's why he did those stones that way.
Yeah,
So when were the stones really built? That's the question.
sure. Right. They were only erected in Georgia in '79, but they could be.
Yeah, who knows?
Yeah.
Right. They could be millions of years old for all we really know.
Right. Exactly.
So the next one says, rule with passion, faith, tradition, and all things with tempered reason. So he's saying, the rulers should rule with faith, tradition, and tempered reason. So no anger. Basically, he's saying there should be peace.
Yeah.
Or peaceful ruling.
Well, that makes sense, but who's the rulers and who's who's making the rulers the rulers?
The people.
Huh?
Well, depending on, that's another interesting thing. It says this stuff in very broad strokes so that any type of government or any time period this could actually fit into.
Mm-hmm. That's what's genius about it.
Mm-hmm. Now it says, protect people and nations with fair laws and just courts.
Yeah, and see who gets to determine what laws are fair and what courts are just.
Well, personally, I think most or a lot of the laws that we have in this country are completely unfair. Because, and I'll tell you why. Any law that you make that protects someone else is a good law. Like murder. Okay, I'm hurting someone else, so yeah, that should be against the law. Stealing should be against the law. I'm taking from someone else. All of that.
Anything that's doing harm to another.
Right, but if you're doing harm to yourself, as in a law that has no victim, a victimless crime is what they call it. If you're committing a victimless crime, how can that be against the law? The only person you're hurting in a victimless crime is you.
Yeah. I don't know.
Right.
I don't know. Like to me, not wearing your seatbelt
Correct.
is a choice that I'm making that's putting my own life in danger, not anybody else.
Right.
Why should I have to be punished for that?
Right.
Yeah, I don't know. That's
Right. It makes absolutely no sense.
Right.
Right.
It's a good question. That's a good point.
And it's funny because not only that, but certain things that are bad for you, our government says it's fine. And then on the other hand, certain things that are bad for you, our government says are not fine, which don't make any sense either.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you look at it, cigarettes, they tax them really high and make all these laws to prevent people from smoking, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, I'm a non-smoker now, but I used to be a smoker, but I'm a non-smoker. And I think cigarettes are horrible. I do. I think they're very addictive. I think they kill you. I know all of this. That's why I quit smoking. One of the reasons. So, yes, I agree with that. But I also agree with choice. So, therefore, I agree it's somebody else's choice, not mine. I made my choice. I'm a non-smoker. Okay. But if you choose to be a smoker, it's not my choice or my right to police your life.
Right.
I can't make your choices for you. Just like it isn't the government's right to police my life or your life. But to take it even farther, what's even funnier is they say all this about smoking, but then when it comes to alcohol, it's almost like they're like, it's cool.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
Well, long as you're 21.
Yeah. But alcohol still kills you, but they won't tax it. They won't put all these laws and all these commercials about drinking. Have you ever seen, you've seen the Truth commercials, right?
Yeah.
Right. That are against smoking. You ever seen a Truth commercial against drinking?
Nope.
No.
Nope.
No.
Somehow alcohol has the prices remain the same through everything, and
I mean, alcohol's
and somehow there's a liquor store literally on every corner and every
literally. Let me explain. Alcohol is the cheapest way to get fucked up there is.
And to me,
really, it is.
And it's the absolute worst. Like it
makes you feel like shit.
It's absolutely.
Yeah, you're poisoning your body. But on top of that, but look at it this way. We'll go even further on that one. What about fast food? They know McDonald's and Arby's and Burger King are killing you. Mm-hmm. They know McDonald's and all of them are contributing to heart disease. They know this. Mm-hmm. But they don't care about that. That's perfectly fine.
The one that always gets me is Fountain Pops.
Yeah.
Right? So, we will fucking label people as alcoholics and drug addicts and all that, but we will let our 4-year-old child walk into any convenience store for 75 cents and get 32 ounces of just pure
sugar
shit.
Yeah.
Like no nutritional value.
High fructose corn syrup and caffeine.
Dude, yeah. Not any nutritional value whatsoever.
You got 10-year-olds downing Mountain Dew and getting enough caffeine to kill a person. And people act, that's another one. Caffeine.
It's fine.
You know caffeine kills you. You know caffeine can kill you if you drink too much of it. You know it's addictive. But caffeine's okay.
Yeah, so I guess my thing is there's somebody obviously that is running the show now who has made a determination that some things are bad and some things are good.
Yeah.
So just like you just said, at the same point, like, then who's going to decide the fair laws and the just court? Who gets to make that decision?
Well, that's what it says right here. That's the next one. Interesting. It says, let all nations rule internally, resolving external disputes in a world court. So it's saying, this should be what happens after an apocalypse. You should have a world court, and they decide if there's two countries, there's no war anymore. The world court decides who's right. If you got a problem, we go to the world court.
Okay.
So that way there's no war.
Basically, we were talking about one world language, one world government.
You know what that sounds? You know what that sounds like? Revelations. Mm-hmm. That sounds like the Mark of the Beast.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah. Now another one says, the next one says, avoid petty laws and useless officials, and that goes right back to what we were just talking about. Yeah. Laws that don't make no sense.
Yeah. Yeah.
And there's so many of them.
And there's a lot of useless officials.
Yeah. 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 Like you need a secretary to write down what you said in the meeting in the Senate. Really? That's a useful job for you? I mean, we've had tape recorders since the 1950s, but you need a chick to stenograph that shit, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So you pay her $50,000 a year. Good idea, dumbass.
Butt fucker.
Yeah. Okay. The next one says balance personal rights and social duties. And we have...
So basically, your rights are determined,
I mean, you have
by your value, basically, is what that's saying.
Yeah. Yeah.
What value you give to society determines what you have the rights to do. I mean, that seems logical.
Yeah. And we have no personal rights now. I mean, If you think you do something you want to do, like go piss outside or have a cop car.
Right.
See what happens to. Yeah.
Well, just like you can't. Then this goes back to your point about you should have a license to have children. I mean, you have to have a license to do everything else.
Yeah.
You can't drive without a license.
Correct.
You can't get married without a license.
Correct.
You can't just build something.
Right.
You have to have a license for fucking everything.
You have
but you
to
can
have
as many fucking kids as you want.
You have to have a license and permission for everything you do in life, except for have kids.
Yeah,
and it doesn't make any goddamn sense.
That's crazy, man.
It's like, popping out children's a right that everybody has. No. Can't just go around. We don't just let cats and dogs randomly pop out kids, do we? Oh, but we're humans. We're different. Why are we different? You shouldn't be able to pop out kids unless you can actually support them, take care of them, and raise them properly in a proper environment.
Yeah, that is a really good, because like, yeah, we will spade and neuter cats and dogs.
Yeah.
But the cats and dogs, they know how to take care of their kids, and they just naturally and instinctually, start to take care of themselves, where humans aren't like that, man.
No.
Like, a human being is completely fucking useless as a baby. You are 100% dependent on someone else.
I mean, if you think about it, humans are pretty much completely useless all the way up to about age 12 or 13.
Yeah, I know. Where like a horse, for example. A horse has a baby, it's up and walking
within a few minutes. Yeah.
So we shouldn't be policing natural, wild, or any animals from having children. We should be policing humans from having children.
Fuck yeah.
They're the only ones that are totally fucking dependent.
Well, also, we're the only ones that mentally fuck up our kids.
Yeah.
I've never
100%.
I've never seen a cat in my life mentally fuck up her kittens.
Nope.
You know what? There's another animal that will kill their young and destroy their young, though. Rodents. That's the other animal that does it. Mice, rats, possums.
Really?
Yeah, the ones we dislike. The ones that most humans really wouldn't want to be like. Yeah, we're the most like them. Yeah. Sneaky, scavengers, destroying our environment. Think about it. We're just like a rat. We're sneaky. We're underhanded. We treat each other like shit.
Treat the planet like shit.
Yeah, we treat the planet and what we live in like shit. Right. And then we hurt each other.
But we're allowed to just have as many of us as we want.
Yeah, you can have as many as you like. Okay.
Yeah.
So the next one on these tablets says, prize truth, beauty, love, seek harmony with the infinite. Whatever the fuck the infinite is. I'm assuming that means the forever or the ultimate God or the ultimate energy or the whatever. That's what it sounds like to me.
Yeah.
The last one says, do not be a cancer on the earth. Leave room for nature. Leave room for nature. And it said it twice. And that right there.
That goes back to what you were saying earlier about having to destroy, wildlife in nature and going into their habitats in order for us to, build our homes and businesses. And there's no need for it.
Mm-hmm. They feature these tablets are huge and they're going to stand for a long time, whoever built them. But there's also interesting features inside them. They feature a built-in channel that indicates the celestial pole, a horizontal slot that shows the annual travel of the sun, as well as systems that mark noontime throughout the year. But what they have, it's interesting. Why would you put those things in there, though? Because those are it's interesting that those are like universal things from the past and the future. Even, if there was, even before clocks, the Egyptians knew celestial north and knew what time noon was based on the sun and the astronomy. So, if this thing showed that, that's what I'm saying. That's even more evidence that it just wasn't meant for us. It was meant for also ancient cultures. But how could it be meant for ancient cultures when it wasn't built until 1979?
Right. And why do you think it was put where it was put? Well,
Well, that's the other thing.
There has to be a
It's out in the middle.
reason.
It's the weirdest thing. It's in a middle of nowhere.
They could have put this
in the
thing
middle
anywhere.
of a complete. Yeah, it's in the middle of nowhere. In the middle of a barren field
in Georgia
with nothing around it, and this field has never had anything in it. Not just now, but a long. It's never had anything in this barren field.
Because I kind of think that whoever has done it, like if I was choosing a location and thought that there was, a possible doomsday scenario or something that was going to happen, a cataclysm to wipe out, 7.5 billion people, that maybe they know something that we don't, and that where these are located might be the safest place to be when that happens. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. Like, I have no idea why you would choose that place when literally anywhere in the world that you could have erected.
Yeah, why would you put them right there?
Yeah.
But anyway, so all of this started on Friday, June 1979. An elegantly dressed, gray-haired gentleman showed up in Elbert County and introduced himself as R.C. Christian, a reference to Christian
Rosicrucians.
Thank you. Or Christian Rose Cross in English. Mm-hmm. Thank God, we'll just do the English version. I haven't fucked up once, and that was almost that would have been bad because I would have never got that. And he said he represented it. He represented it.
That's a shot.
That is a shot for all you playing the game. Please take a shot. Yeah, represented. He said he represented a small. Represented is not even kind of a word. Okay, I meant represent, and then the word that I was reading was actually represents, and somehow in my head it got representatives.
Yes.
Okay, but he said he represented a small group of loyal Americans. He is also the one that founded the Order of the Rose Cross, which I don't really know what that is. Do you know what the Order of the Rose Cross is?
No, it's some kind of secret society, I believe.
Yes.
Let me look that up.
Yes. Isn't that the society where they wear masks and Tom Cruise went during that movie? What was it? Where they were all orgy together.
Yeah.
And the bitch got naked in the middle, started sucking Grandpa's dick while he had the censor. Yeah, that was great. Good movie. Okay. Crazy. Dude, Stanley Kubrick is out of his fucking mind.
The Kabbalistic Order of the Rose Cross.
Kabbalistic?
Was France's first ever occult society.
Damn.
Established by Stanislas de Guaita and Josephine Paladin in 1888. The headquarters is in Las Vegas.
Yeah, now, because But anyways, he was one that founded the order here. But anyways,
it's just, I think it's just a part of Freemasonry. It's basically a secret society that's, you know what I mean? It's part of the Masons. Mm-hmm. So
now, see, what we're saying now, this guy wasn't really this Christian guy. That was a name he just made up. He made up the name R.C. Christian. We don't really know who the gray-haired dude really was. We do not know his name. And this Christian Rosen, what is the last name again? Rosencruz? Christian Rosencruz? Rosicrucian. Okay, Christian Rosicrucian is the one that started the Order of the Rose Cross, which was an occult organization in France. Mm-hmm. So this guy kind of took his name as kind of a joke. But anyways, that's what he called himself. So he admitted that it wasn't his real name. He said, that is not my real name. I'm just using this name as a joke. He said, but he refused to reveal anything about his identity at all. So he went up to this guy named Joe Finley, president of a company that specialized in granite construction. And then he told him what the monument was. And of course, Joe Finley immediately thought he was insane. He's like, wait a minute. First of all, it's 1979, right? And he was like, wait a minute, dude. We're gonna have to get a bunch of machines and a bunch of granite. You know how much this is fucking gonna cost, dude?
Right.
Right. So the dude explained that this thing would be a compass, a calendar, and a clock, and would be also engraved with a set of guides written in 8 languages of the world. Finley, who was the granite guy, believed that he was dealing with a crazy man, and he said he wanted to get rid of him. So he tried to explain that it would require a large number of tools and machines. And the old gray-haired guy just nodded. So Finley quoted him several really high prices. Again, the gray-haired guy seemed indifferent as hell, like he didn't care the money, and just nodded. So Finley sent him to Wyatt Martin, president of the bank, and Martin was one of the people that spoke to this guy the most, and so this guy somehow arranged money and like gave this Martin guy a large amount of cash for this granite thing. So a large amount. They didn't say how much, but
Really?
I'm assuming it'd be
You
a
paid
large
with
amount.
cash.
That's what it says, yeah.
Wow.
Now, listen to this. The astrological specifications were so incredible and complex on this thing that Findlay and the construction company had to hire an astronomer from the University of Georgia and a physics professor to build this thing.
Really?
Yeah, the complex indicates the day of the year, the equinoxes, the solstice, among many, many other things about the calendar and the time of day.
That's
The
great.
main feature, though, is the 10 guides engraved in several different languages. There's also a mission statement engraved on this thing that says, let these be guide stones to the age of reason. By 1980, when they started building the monument, Martin remembers that people started telling him to stop and accused him of being part of the occult. Because those commandments on the guide stones were real weird and eccentric.
To anybody too that doesn't know what a cult has kind of been construed now as like something evil, but a cult literally just means hidden.
Yeah,
That's it.
that's what it meant originally. So they're near nowhere. They're like a really far drive from Atlanta, Georgia, and they're basically in the middle of nowhere. They're like nowhere near like a big city or a big town or nothing. They're just a
there's
little
nothing
tiny.
around.
Yeah, they're a little tiny roadside attraction on the way to like the state park and stuff. That's all they are.
Yeah, it's just man, that's what it's kind of. I just don't understand why they pick. It's just weird, man. It's a weird thing.
Yeah, and no one knows. Still to this day, no one understands it.
No, that's what's so fascinating about it. It's like you said earlier. It's written so broadly that the interpretation you could interpret it almost any way you want. You know, everybody's going to have their different interpretation of it.
Oh, listen to this. Okay, he bought this plot of land for $5,000 back then. This gray-haired guy, and again, they don't know who it was because he didn't. He just wrote it as R.C. Christian, who does not exist. Let's just be clear. That person is not real. We don't know who bought this land, but the same person still owns it to this day. And then he bought this stuff to put the guide stones on. But it stands in the highest point in the county of Elberton. So it stands at the highest point in this
Really?
county. It was purchased for $5,000, and the top capstone is exactly astronomically aligned perfectly with the North Star. There is also an additional stone
wild.
to the west that aligns perfectly with the Big Dipper because it's directly, the top of the Dipper, the North Star is like, what, the top of it, or is it part of the Dipper? I can't remember.
I can't either.
But it's one of the two, and then as you go west, it's the other side of the Dipper. But anyways, the stone in the west has other notes on it and a history of the guide stones. Holy crap. Now listen to this. This is crazy. The guide stones also serve as an astronomical calendar. So the guide stones tell exactly what day of the year it is and everything, the month of the year, by how it's pointing at the star. So it's an astronomical calendar. And every day at noon, the sun shines through a 7/8 inch hole in the center stone and illuminates the day's date on an engraving.
No
So,
shit.
yeah, as the sun moves each day, it knows. This guy knew exactly where the sun would be positioned each day to shine through this hole
At
differently at noon to hit the different date.
That's wild.
Yeah. No, that's insane.
So a well-known trick for finding Polaris or the North Star is that the two outermost stars in the bowl of the Big Dipper point to it. So you take the two outermost stars of the bowl of the Big Dipper, and those will actually point you to where the North Star is in the sky. So it's not part of the Big Dipper.
Oh, so that North Star is pointing, so that west one would point right at the Dipper.
Mm-hmm.
It would be the Dipper. So the Dipper would be the west stone that tells the history of the guide stones, and as you come straight in, you would be right at the North Star.
Yep, you fall. Yep.
Yeah, that's brilliant.
Mm-hmm. That shine in the day. That's wild.
Look, this will explain why he did it in Georgia, though. Here you go. You want to know? He came to Elbert County to secure the granite slabs because it was known that the quarries in Georgia produced the finest granite stones on the planet.
Okay, there you go.
So the largest stones were quarried in the county. 4 of them stand at 16 feet tall and weigh over 20 tons each. The capstone that sits on top is 25,000 pounds.
Wow. That's big, man. 16 feet, 20 tons. That's a big ass piece of granite.
Many locals around the stones believe Ted Turner was involved in producing the money to build the structure. The rumor was that Ted Turner helped build them. So, I don't know. It just says somebody said, I don't know how Ted Turner's name got involved.
Because he's got money.
Probably. Shoot. Now, this is interesting. What was I going to say? Yes, okay. In 2015, they did a documentary about these stones, and there's a connection, like you said, to Freemasons, to the United Nations, and to the Rosicrucian. Which, do you know what the Rosicrucians are? I don't either. That's why I was asking.
No, I've never heard that one.
No, I've never heard it. It must be like a Freemasons. Oh, yeah, there's also a time capsule under this thing. The nearby legend code, okay, on the stones, references that there is a time capsule buried beneath the stone tablets.
Does it say what's in the time capsule?
And it says the only problem, the fields on the stone reserved for the dates that it was buried was never inscribed. Was the time capsule never buried, or were the dates never updated?
Yeah.
Or is, like I said, this thing traveling through time and we not know it?
Yeah.
And the time capsule has or has not been buried, depending on your point of view.
Yeah. Huh.
No, these things are insane. First of all, the fact, okay, let's look at it this way. First of all, for you to be able to build a device that tells the exact day based on the sun shining through a 7/8 inch hole, you would have to be exact. You would have to know the exact position of the sun every single day of every single year and exactly how it was going to shine to be able to do that.
Yeah.
Secondly, you would have to have unbelievable amounts of knowledge of physics and astronomy to build any structure that would always line up with the North Star.
Yeah.
Because, again, the Earth moves, so the structure is constantly moving also. So every day, the North Star is a little different position.
Mm-hmm.
So for this structure to do all of those things and be a compass and be a calendar and tell you the summer and equinox and it's a sundial.
That's what I'm saying. It sounds a lot like what they're discovering, that a lot of these ancient, like Stonehenge and pyramids and things, that's what they were doing. Because they are aligned with, certain star systems, and
that's what I said.
And the sun comes in at certain angles, at certain times of the day and certain times of the year, and it sounds like a modern day ancient relic, basically.
It sounds like this guy came from a different time period.
Yeah, like I said,
he seems like
I never thought about it like that, but
he seems like an advanced race.
Yeah, that is could very well be.
Yeah, that he came from a different time period. Oh, speaking of crazy and insane stuff, have you heard about the sun recently in the cube?
Mm-mm.
You haven't? Oh my goodness. Okay, this guy on YouTube, and you can look this up. I don't know exactly what it is. If you look up cube coming out of sun, you'll see it. You know that NASA has a satellite that takes pictures of the sun at all times. Okay?
Right.
This guy monitors this on a semi-regular basis and records it on his computer.
Mm-hmm.
Well, about a week or two ago, I think it was, this guy caught a picture of a black cube exiting the sun from the NASA satellite. 2 seconds later, the picture goes blank. It says, error, feed terminated. Feed corrupted, that's what it said. Okay. So he had it recorded, right, on his computer.
Mm-hmm.
And he found it, and he's like, oh my goodness. So he went to the NASA website, found the footage again, downloaded it again. So he had 2 copies of this footage. About an hour later, there was no footage. You can't find it now on the NASA website. It's completely wiped. Says that footage does not exist. And it's clearly a black cube.
But he had already got it.
Well, not only did he got it, a lot of people had seen it. He wasn't the only one.
Okay.
A bunch of people have seen this because there's a lot of people who,
but it was
do that.
It was a huge, it was.
Yeah, it was a black cube.
It wasn't a natural structure.
No, it wasn't anything natural. Here's the sun. You can see the sun is a big ball, and right in the bottom corner, you see a black cube literally fly out of it like a plane does. I mean, it didn't look like it was just blown out of it or anything. It flew, stopped right outside the sun, went like this in front of the sun, and then boom, in an instant disappeared. Bye-bye.
That's wild.
Uh-huh. Makes you
That's wild.
It makes you wonder what's really inside the sun.
Yeah, I know.
I mean, people tell you it's a big ball of gas, but hell, people tell you a lot of shit.
Yeah, you're right.
You've never been there, you don't know.
Exactly.
Yeah. It might be a constantly burning thing on the outside, but how do we know that's not a technological made thing? How do you know that's not really a machine? There's a lot of machines that can burn hydrogen and shit, make big balls of gas. Inside of that could be a species that's living inside the sun, for all we know.
Oh yeah, or you could have a species that's gotten to a place of technological advancement where they've got machines that can go in the sun.
Correct. Yeah.
I mean, it's not that fucking far-fetched.
No. I mean, eventually you could. I mean, you know,
if there's a cubed structure that is, obviously not.
Yeah, you'll have to look it up. But yeah, I seen it the other day.
That looks man-made.
Yeah, he showed it right on his computer from the NASA website where it was coming in, where he recorded it.
You got a question?
And he played it right on YouTube, and he said, you can see it here coming out of the sun. He focused in on it. He said, now, look, I'll get on the NASA website, try to get on it. Information error.
Wow.
It said, information corrupted.
That tells you right there all you need to know.
Yeah, that right there tells you everything. Because why wipe it away?
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
Why 2-3 minutes after this cube appears, all of a sudden your server goes down?
Yeah.
Oh, that's weird. Yeah, that's odd. That's convenient.
Well, it's just a coincidence.
Yeah, I'm sure. And that information just happens to be corrupted.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
No problem there.
Hey, I believe you.
Yeah, no problem there. Oh, did you also?
Unreal.
Here's another fun. I wanted to say one more funny thing. We're going to be done here in a second, guys, because this is running long. I know, not real long though. It's about normal. But here's a funny thing. Did you hear what Chris Rock supposedly he did? Let's just put it out there. Did you hear what Chris Rock said to Dave Chappelle?
No.
Because you heard Dave Chappelle got tackled by a homeless guy, right?
Did he?
Yeah, on stage. You didn't hear about that?
Mm-mm.
Yeah, this homeless guy. Dave Chappelle was filming Netflix's A Joke special. And this homeless dude, I don't know why exactly. I haven't read exactly why he tackled Dave Chappelle, but he tackled Dave Chappelle.
Okay.
So afterwards, Dave Chappelle and Chris Rock were talking, right? And Dave Chappelle, because Chris Rock was there at the show, and Dave Chappelle goes, man, at least you got, hit by somebody famous. I got tackled by some homeless dude. And Chris Rock goes, dude, I got smacked by the softest Nigger to ever rap. I was like, no!
That's great.
I was like, oh my God.
That's funny.
He's right, though.
Yeah.
He's right. Will Smith's the softest dude ever.
He was really soft.
Yeah. Will Smith with his cream cheese of rap. I mean, he came out with songs like Parents Don't Just Understand.
I know, that's a great song.
Yeah. In West Philadelphia, born and raised. Yeah. Nobody took his rap career seriously.
No.
I mean, let's think about his giant hit, shall we, ladies and gentlemen? Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, Parents Just Don't Understand, Men in Black, Wild Wild West.
Get jiggy with it.
Yeah, getting jiggy with it. Miami.
Yeah, Miami. Oh, he was bad. He was bad. He was really bad musician, I think.
You know what's really bad? Tupac beat up your old lady's coochie way before you ever got it, and she wishes he was still alive, motherfucker.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
For sure.
Have you seen the meme with Chris Rock, speaking of, that people keep putting on YouTube? This is wrong. It's wrong.
What's it
It's
say?
wrong. Well, you know how they take the clip from the Oscars, and
Right.
you know how Will Smith said, keep my wife's name out your fucking mouth?
Yeah.
They cut it up. So what it says is, keep fucking my wife's mouth. And then it cuts to Chris Rock, dude, and it's got old boy's face that fucked Jada on Chris Rock's body, and he goes, I will! It's fucking hilarious.
I love the internet.
Dude, there was one they made, and he goes, I was going to. I will. And then he goes, and then it cuts back to Chris Rock, and he goes, and I can't wait to see it. Like, no, bitch. No.
The internet wins all the time.
That's why Will Smith's in India. That's why he's in India right now taking personal time. No, you're in India hiding.
Yeah.
Because everybody's making fun of you, and they canceled every project you had. So you can go to India for a little while with your money because nobody wants you here in the United States right now anyways.
Hope it was worth it, pal.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure your wife's enjoying that young cock that she's still probably getting
yeah.
on a daily. Yeah. She's just not telling you about it.
Of course.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, that right there tells you you're a bitch. First of all, you let this young-ass dude come into your house. It's your son's best friend. You know that was his son's best friend, right?
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Nice.
Son's best friend.
Classy.
Right. She fucks her son's best friend. You find out about it. and you take this bitch back. What kind of pussy ass dude are you? First of all, I'm gonna beat his ass. If I can't beat his ass, I'm sure my ball back can. The second thing I'm gonna do is I'm never speaking to that hoe again.
Right.
Right, we're done. We've had 3 kids and you're out here fucking some 20-year-old dude who happens to be our son's best friend. Fuck you, bitch. Fuck you.
Yeah, for sure.
Right. Plus, she ain't even hot anyways. Jada's kind of hot. She ain't real hot.
Yeah, not right. Like,
Yeah.
I mean,
She ain't Halle Berry, for God's
Yeah.
sakes. Get the fuck out of here.
Yeah, right.
She's all right.
Yeah.
Right.
It's all right.
She's an 8.
She's not worth all this hubbub.
No.
Yeah.
She wasn't all the worth the hubbub before.
Right.
Because she had attitude years ago. I've seen her, she's always been kind of a bitch. So, I don't know her personally, but she just comes off kind of bitchy to me every time I see her.
Yeah.
So my point is, you ain't worth all that. You gotta be real hot for that kind of bitchiness. And you gotta be real hot to cheat on me with a 20-year-old me take you back and look like a little pussy bitch.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you gotta be smoking fucking hot for me to get up on Oscars, fuck up my career and everything else, and smack a dude. You're way hotter than what you are. Fuck that. First of all, I ain't getting up to smack nobody, because first of all, bitch, you cheated on me. I don't give a damn how much he insults you, because again, you cheated on me and made me look like a bitch. You expect me to get up to defend your honor? Fuck you.
Yeah, it's just,
You go smack him.
It's a fucking joke,
Yeah.
right? Like,
You go smack him. You don't even have a career to ruin. Let's be honest. If she had never married Will Smith or fucked Tupac, would anybody who know who Jada Pinkett was? No. One fucking movie, set it off. No, she was in Tales from the Crypt Demon Night too. So maybe 2, right? And then she's done nothing for 20 years except for the Red Table discussion, which again is only listened to because of her husband. She's only famous because of her husband. It's kind of like Kim Kardashian. No one would know who that big titty bitch was if it wasn't for her dad.
Yeah, I don't know shit about them.
Right. They're famous for being famous. That's what they're famous for. They're famous because their dad was a famous rich guy. That's what it was. And then their other dad was a famous transgender Olympic athlete.
Yeah.
Well, anyways. But I digress, and we need to get off here because I'm at, it's about normal. Well, I hope you enjoyed it. We did get off topic slightly, but but this has been episode, 48? I think it's 48.
Pretty sure.
It's either 48 or 49. I'm losing track. I'm not entirely sure, but it's an episode.
It's almost 50.
Yeah, it's almost 50. Yeah, so am I. Damn near. I got like 6 years, but I hope you enjoyed it, and we will see you next time.